How's it going, everyone?
Hey,
Welcome to a
hey.
new show. We are live right here with look at all these fellas, man. Look at all these good-looking gentlemen in the chat today, ladies and gentlemen.
Evening, gents.
Welcome, of course, to you know the usual suspects are here.
Yeah, we've only got two ugly bastards here.
But let me introduce the nice folks that took the time to come on the bottom row right here. Toon Tactics Philip, of course. You can follow him at Toon Tactics TV. You see all the gentlemen's logos right there for their channels. Shout out Philip and welcome back, my brother. It's been a while.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for the invite. Great show, great panel, great chat. I'm ready to talk football with all of you guys.
Appreciate that, man. Stephen from Brock the Toon as well. Welcome, brother. All the way from Wales.
Thank you for having us.
There we go. And then we got Black and White Banter, Maddie, man. Nice to have you. It's been a few weeks since we had you back on. But welcome back, mate.
How's it going, gents? How are you?
Yeah,
good. Doing good. And of course, the best writer in football right now. Am I wrong, Jamie?
Hey, you said it, not me.
Exactly. Writer for the mag, Jamie on the show as well, and we got our usual DX on the panel right now. So, man, we got a busy screen, folks, and I want to start, of course, telling the folks smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, do all that, all the work. You already know what to do. Smash the like, subscribe, and all that stuff. You can become a member, of course, and join the squad and get perks, get exclusive content, as well as win prizes at the end of every month. So the show is called Magpies Assemble, and Harpaul says, "I have assemble indeed." So there we go. I want to get the fellas, their thoughts on the match this weekend. I mean, we won against Fulham. It was certainly not the easiest match, but we've struggled before this season, so it wouldn't be the first time. But we essentially got a win that, it was a match that it was a must win, and we essentially we got it done. We got the win, and ultimately that must be what counts. But let me start with Jamie. Jamie, what do you think, man? What do you think about the match?
I mean, you've got to take that in a away game, haven't you? But I think we would probably all agree that the first half hour was pretty diabolical. It was just the first half hour was reminiscent of some of the last half hours around Christmas time, where they just can't seem to keep hold of the ball. They just boot it back to the opposition, and it's wave after wave of attack. And then Martin Dubravka went down with what looked like a really nasty injury, and I hope he's all right. I think he just about managed to finish the game. And what do you know? We took that opportunity for Eddie Howe to give them an un-Eddie Howe-like blasting, and it improved from there. And then second half, I think once Joe Willock, who'd been a bit of a passenger, came off and Harvey Barnes came on, we had that impact. So nothing wrong with that goal. Disallowing that's just VAR refereeing the game, but Bruno, the man, came through to win it for us a couple of minutes after that latest little farce. And I think 7 points from that week would all have taken that, wouldn't we, gents?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, definitely.
Certainly a good assessment. Now, let me put you guys in order. That way your logo matches where you're at. That way people know where to identify you. Well, let me go back. Let me go with, you guys hear me right? Because I hear myself kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Philip, Toon Tactics, my man. Great channel, by the way. You've had some great videos, great graphics, and so subscribe to his channel if you haven't seen him in a while. And we're gonna be, want the fellas to tell you where you can find them, because they're great content creators, take a lot of time in doing their work. So please go subscribe to the shows.
Thank you.
Go watch them. So Philip, before we get your take on the game, I should have just asked everybody to introduce their channel. But tell us what you're doing, man. Your channel, where we can find you, and all that stuff.
Yeah, guys, Toon Tactics TV. We're on X, which is obviously Twitter X, whatever, Instagram and YouTube. I do match previews, analysis, and just all round things around the club, the leadership, and everything else. And yeah, I've recently finished a 3-part series on Newcastle's transfer window approach, and I'm going to have another weekly Newcastle review that's coming out probably tomorrow, talking all things Newcastle, and a Tottenham pre-match preview also due out. So do look out for that. Always looking to hear your comments and opinions.
There we go. Now, what do you think about the game, man? How did you experience it?
Yeah, look, I think just in the wider context, obviously, you accept that Newcastle are in a state of transition, not only as a squad, as a team, but also in terms of injury-wise. I'm sure you guys would have seen the table this week that we're 1,400 days accumulated of injuries. We are at least 300, 400 days ahead of the second place team, which I think is Brentford. And so the fact that we're still playing and doing what we can, and an 8th place finish is very good. And then going into this game, I knew in terms of my pre-match preview that, look, Fulham are a good side. I assumed before actually looking at what they do that they were a counter-attacking team. They're not a counter-attacking team. They're fairly front foot forward, almost to a fault, especially when they play away. That's why it's their home record and their away record is so lopsided. They overextend when they're away, but they play a lot more controlled, a progressive football when they're at home, which is why they've beaten so many teams. And they spread their play really well, especially down the wings. They overload on the wings where they really, really, really hurt us. And partly because we did. I wondered whether Eddie Howe would try to fight fire with fire, or would he be more conservative? And in the first, I think, part of the game, I think he did try to fight fire with fire and try to press up high, but he paid really quick. We paid for that because they literally just they'll take 3 touches and they're ready up the field. Paulinho, for instance, was really good there. Pereira joining up. Iwobi, who also gets lots of stick, but he's a very good player on the ball. I know he's not the greatest at finishing, but he's a very, very good player. And down the wings, they hurt us mightily with a lot of cutbacks. We're quite fortunate that they're not really good. They don't really have a cutting edge, which is what hurt them. Second half now, we dropped back 10 yards, and all that wing play that we're doing is nullified. And we was able to do the counter-attacking through Gordon, Isak, obviously Barnes later came on. Anderson was incredible. And we, unlike Fulham, we do score a lot of goals. I think we're the third or fourth highest scoring team in the Premier League, a very high conversion rate. And so we made them pay for it. And that's after the poor VAR decision. We showed a lot of resilience, I think. And 5 minutes later, through Bruno Gomes, another heroic display from him. And so, yeah, literally a game of 2 halves. And it was a good away performance, 1-0, clean sheet. Can't complain. On to the next one.
Yeah, great takes right there. Matthew, welcome back, my brother, for Black and White Banter. So tell us again, plug your show, man. Plug your channel.
Yeah, well, probably the same as most other people's channels, really. Just talking about Newcastle on the regular.
You are the funniest Newcastle YouTuber in the world right now. So I'm telling you, man, you're funny as hell.
I agree. I was going to say, I was trying to ruin your introduction, Black and White Banter, but great show. You and me and Newcastle are fantastic.
That's just me questioning your sense of humour, if you just Newcastle, normally home and away, and not always sober blogs, the away ones, but generally speaking, just following the country up and down, the team up and down the country. And yeah, just talking about all topics, sometimes a little bit more on the tactical side, just because I'm lucky enough to have some access to data and whatnot to be able to do so. But I don't always get as many videos in a week posted out as what I'd like, because the TikToks, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the blogs, all that sort of takes over sometimes. But yeah.
Yeah, of course. Now, what's your take on the game, man? What do you think?
Yeah, I think all things considered, it was a good result. As someone had already alluded to earlier, first half was really, really poor, and I think there was a real feeling. I can't speak for everyone. For me, it was at half time. It was a case of things can only get better, and I think the fact that we weren't losing the game was a bit of a bonus at half time. And you know, we've all heard about Eddie Howe given the bollocking, which is quite unlike him. I just think we improved. To be totally honest, Bruno's been carrying us for a long time now. In that midfield, alongside players who aren't performing. I think as soon as Bruno was then given a couple of players around him, mainly Elliot Anderson when he came on, who I think's been absolutely class since he's come back. I don't want to get carried away, because, you know, there's a chance of the Geordie Maradona in the stands, which may be a little bit cringe, I don't know, but he's looking, his impact. I think we forget how good he was starting to look before he got injured earlier in the season.
Right.
He's playing with a certain maturity for me that you don't often see for someone just coming through how he has. And I think he gave us a bit of drive and purpose. And I think that rubbed off on Bruno a little bit because I think in the first half, Bruno was playing with Willock, who shouldn't have even been on the pitch after the first 5 minutes. And Longstaff, who we all know is just not, he's not at the races.
Not doing well, is he? I mean,
no, he's not. He's not. And I think we saw last season as a player in there, and I think Eddie Howe is sticking with Longstaff because he's so worried about going a little bit too attacking with his first three in midfield. And I think when Anderson came on and freed up Bruno suddenly had Harvey Barnes on the pitch, and then obviously Gordon on the other side. Fulham played quite a high line, one of the highest in the Prem, which suited Barnes a little bit. He looked like he was up for it. I mean, I thought Alexander Isak, I don't know what you guys thought. I don't think he'll have a quieter game in a Newcastle shirt probably in his career. I thought even when we improved in the second half, Alexander Isak had a really, really quiet day at the office. But we got over the line, and I honestly think 7 points from 9 from us being one Paul Dummett clothesline away from 9 points in a week with 12 injuries. I really think it shouldn't be underestimated. I think it should be shouted about that 7 points from 9 with the very, very little squad rotation that we have is a very, very good week by any Premier League standard. The fact that we're doing it with such a bare squad couldn't help but be happy at full time. Definitely not.
That's right. Steven from Rock the Tune, how you doing, man? Give your channel a plug.
Not so bad. Rock the Tune on YouTube and all my social media. Also, for all those Welsh fans out there, or if you're living in Wales, Facebook channel, Facebook group, NUFC Wales, the Welsh Mags, if you want to come along and join.
There we go. And what is your take on the game, man? What do you think?
Well, I can't really add much to it, really. I think the last guy definitely summed it all up, really. Black and white banter. There's not much else I can say. It was a good game. It was great to see Bruno score, which has been a while since he's done that. I think he's missing his midfield partner, Joe Linton.
Right.
I think he's missing him big time. But Anderson coming back, it's come back well. And especially now as well that we've got... it's gone. Harvey Barnes back, and that's made a massive difference. And I do agree. 7 points from 9 is absolutely fantastic. Would have been better if we got 9. I think Dummett was a very stupid, basically grapple with the player. You know, is he wrestling or playing football? You know, that's the thing.
Good question. That's a good question.
As someone put out the other day and said, "It's WWE. It's not WWE. It's football."
Yeah.
So we were unlucky there. We should have beaten Everton. We were all over Everton, but the difference was with a Fulham game. Fulham played well against us, and they were dangerous. We could have been 4-0 down at one point if it wasn't for their mistakes. They couldn't get shots on target properly. I think Dubravka played really well, and that made us a difference. And with the defense we've got at the moment, I think they did quite well.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys think about, now we can open a debate for everybody, as we say, put the foot on the table and you just grab a leg, grab a wing, whatever, do as you please. Now, I mean, a lot of people, including the old man up there, believe that Isak is not to be the proper number 9 for Newcastle United, that he's a 10, that he is, he's not a goal scorer, that he misses sitters.
I didn't say he's not a goal scorer.
You said he misses sitters, which, is kind of.
I didn't say that either.
I'm just saying what you mean. So, I mean, it's a subject to debate. I mean, I think he's a number 9. I think he's a modern 9. So what? I mean, why look for a problem that is not there? I mean, he scores goals, man. So anybody?
Well, I gave him a 4 on Saturday.
Well, that's not much of a.
I think Matty probably agrees with us.
Which I'm not just talking about this game though. I'm just talking in general. So, Matt,
But that's probably his worst
Yeah,
game
I mean,
in
he had
Newcastle shirt.
he had a really, really quiet game on Saturday. I don't think any of us could deny that. I mean, I know what you're getting at with sort of like the. Do you mean more from like he's not that natural goal scorer? Maybe getting the tap ins and that predatory instinct that you sometimes get. Is that what you sort of get at, Derek, when you say that?
No, I just don't think he's a focal point.
Right.
I think he's better drifting in from. I'm not saying the left wing, but just coming in from behind on the left hand side. Although having said that, I mean, albeit it was on the right hand side, the two decent balls that he was provided with on Saturday that he fluffed. That's where I see his strengths. Going in from there, but it's pointless having good wingers who are going to put crosses in to Isak in the middle because he's not going to win now.
But essentially, our wingers, according to what Eddie plays, don't do that. They cut inside.
They're inverted wingers.
That's what he should be doing. But let me ask, Philip, you being a tactical man yourself, I mean, does it make sense? Which, again, I'm saying, I think Eddie likes to play with inverted wingers. So,
Yeah, I think it depends what you want. If you mean target man, for instance, so Man City got a target man, Erling Haaland, and they've been, well, not just Man City fans actually, rival fans are saying he's not that good because he hasn't got the all-round play of an Isak. And so we're kind of saying, well, he's not really a target man because he hasn't got the end product of Erling Haaland. So it's horses for courses, I think. I think Eddie Howe will eventually evolve the team into a 4-3-2-1 formation, I think, where we get a little bit more control in the midfield and are able to approach the play a little bit more. And then you get Isak probably playing behind a focal striker eventually, I think, whispers around, Benjamin Sesko and others. He was a little more of a target man. Because I think Isak isn't like a Callum Wilson who wants to do the rough and tumble side of things necessarily. He wants to be able to run on the shoulder or be able to drop in or to come in from the wings, which is fair. And that's his way of play. I mean, for instance, against West Ham, he was magnificent. He absolutely terrorized them.
But against West Ham, he was coming into the centre of the field more and picking the ball up round about the centre circle and going.
Yeah,
that was his strength against West Ham, and that's what I see him doing.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem with the Fulham game, for instance, was that we didn't have any control over the ball at all. We were busy defending a lot of the time. Bruno barely had any touches. The more touches Bruno has, the more touches Isak and everybody else will have. And I forgot who said it. It's not until Barnes and Anderson came on that then we were able to get a lot more control over the ball itself and play that way.
Right.
That's exactly what was said in the watch along. Yeah, what the difference that Anderson made was chalk and cheese.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Now, go on, buddy, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if Eddie, I was going to stick with the same system, which I know you were just alluding to. He might look to change his tactics moving into sort of next season and beyond. I don't know about you, but like last season, I absolutely loved having that balance of Isak and Wilson to mix it up. And I always thought Callum Wilson was the sort of striker, depending on how the game was, he was always chomping at the bit to come onto the pitch and make a difference. But he was so different to Isak that we had the balance of both. So I don't know whether it's up to Eddie Howe in the transfer window, if he is going to play with one striker, to maybe get someone a little bit younger who doesn't necessarily expect to walk into the team to offer something totally different to Isak. And then we've got that balance where we change things, which is what Callum Wilson was offering. But we'll have to assume Callum Wilson's away.
100%.
Now, Kenny brings up a good point. He says, "Are we forgetting Isak was burgled? His house was essentially burglarized."
Was it?
Yeah, I know, but you've got to assume Eddie Howe knows the mentality of the player, and if that's affected him, then he wouldn't have played him, would he?
Well, I don't know.
He would have had to play him because there was nobody else.
Matthew,
I
don't know, Matt. Hey, Matthew, I know. Listen, Philip knows me from way back when I had -3 subscribers, and I've been talking about Longstaff for a while. You guys have been listening to me, and the same as Burn. And I know that my man Matt, he likes to be balanced in his opinion, but he's not Eddie is known for not making changes, man. Even if they play good, bad, or they're happy, sad. I'm just saying. So,
Yeah, yes. Oh, sorry, is that on Isak, you mean?
on all players. I mean, why would he take Isak out if he seems a little bit, quiet, and keep Longstaff when he's been playing horrific, for the last 3 months?
Yeah, I still think Longstaff's been kept in because he's too worried about, which I'm not saying he's right. He's right in being so cautious. I think he's been too concerned about going to attacking in midfield with the other options that he has. I think that's always been his concern. And I know we're watching Longstaff, and I mean, you look at the stats. I mean, I pulled these numbers up before the Fulham game, and when you're sticking your rod out trying to find some sort of decent fish, like you wait. And the number, Longstaff's numbers are tragic. Like, they are absolutely tragic.
It's a poison lake you're fishing in there, kids.
I don't think there's any water in the lake I was fishing in.
I love it.
I think Longstaff gets a bad rap because the strength of Newcastle, and particularly last season, was that we were the sum of all of our parts. So we're not like I dare say Man United, for instance. So Man United aren't a very good team as a team, but they have individual stars. You saw Bruno Fernandes's goal, for instance, against Liverpool. We don't have many guys that can do that. However, as a team, we're exceptional. And when you had Bruno, Longstaff, and Joe Linton, for instance, Joe Linton providing the athleticism together with mixing it up with Longstaff, there was a point during the season where people just stopped attacking us, and they just gave us the ball, and we drew like 14 games. It was that good. And all Longstaff had to do, and he said it himself in a documentary, was, look, I just get the ball and give it to Bruno. That's all he done. And he even confessed it himself. However, this year, when you don't have a Joe Linton, you don't have a Willock, the athleticism in that midfield, and you're relying essentially for Longstaff to do that, who isn't as athletic, who isn't as strong or as pacey as them, he does look a lot worse. And then you're seeing Bruno having to do all of that stuff himself. That's what we're saying, carrying the team. That's what Longstaff's having to do. And so
without being able to put his foot in for the last 11 games.
Exactly. That's precisely it. And so he's literally been hamstrung for that. And so that's what I'm saying, a team in transition, but also a team that's dealing with a lot of injuries as well. Yes, am I saying that Longstaff can't improve? No, of course he can improve. But the things that you need Longstaff to do, which is the running part of it at least, he is doing it whilst carrying an injury. Is he going to be the person that's going to take us forward into winning Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues? Probably not. But for now, I just hope he's enough to get us into Europe.
Yeah. Jamie, man, you're awful quiet, man. Is that because we're talking about a fellow Geordie?
No, I think, I was thinking about the Isak thing. I think it's tricky to compare Longstaff, who's been out of form for ages, than to Isak, who might have been in the wrong frame of mind. If it had came out that morning that Isak had decided not to play against Fulham because he'd been burgled 48 hours before, I would have been furious, by the way. I'd have been like, give your head a wobble. But a couple of things. First of all, Alexander Isak's 1 goal away from 20 goals. He'll be the first man to have done that since Alan Shearer. That'll only be him, Andy Cole, Les Ferdinand and Peter Beardsley, who've done that in the Premier League for Newcastle. That's a decent striker, isn't it, mighty win? And also...
I'm not saying he's not a decent striker. I'm saying he's not a main striker. He's not a target. He's not a focus.
Your main striker is your main goal scorer.
You don't have to be a thing and just do that thing. The big problem we've had, that the teams that can spend money don't have, is you need a team to play the first hour and a team to play the last half hour with the introduction of 5 subs. And we haven't had that luxury because of the injuries.
And by the way, we've also played an extra half of football because we've played 45 minutes extra time in the last 3 games. So this week we've played an extra half of football.
There's a stat.
That's a stat right there.
Oh, it's been getting this calculator.
I cannot tell a lie. I got it off Chippers.
Right.
Right.
That's
ruined it.
Same as that first hour, and then like if you want to bring on someone else who can play through the middle, if you want to change it up earlier, he can play out there on the left wing. I don't think we need to pigeonhole him and say he's a number 10, he's a number 9. He's like a kind of inside, outside forward, number 10,
Yeah.
whatever. I think the key is to get someone who can play with him next year, because he's going to be in the starting 11, whatever shape it is. And I don't think anybody would disagree that we need to invest in the striking department if we're bloody allowed under PSR.
But I mean, Paul, I mean, the fellas up there, I mean, it's except for the mighty win, he's interrupted enough, I think, this whole show already. But now I'm playing. But you know, we need a striker, but don't we need a left back? Or are we good with what Lewis Hall has been doing the last few weeks, starting? You know, are we content with that? Do we need another midfielder? Knowing that Longstaff probably is not cutting it, and of course, you got essentially 3 playing already. You know, don't you need backups? Because Joe Linton, Tonali, and Bruno are going to be starting, no matter what people say. So who's going to be backing those guys up? Longstaff.
Centre back's the key, isn't it?
What about center backs? Now that the landscape has changed dramatically, because center backs, to me, I think Eddie invented Coca-Cola when he put Byrne as a center back. Something that we've been saying, by the way, for a while.
Not really.
But
They've only been playing there for 10 years, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you know, so now he's been playing terrific. The best Byrne that I've seen in my whole entire life was played
He has had some good games at left back. He has.
Yeah,
Admittedly more last season. He has had some phenomenal games at left back.
He played there when we stayed up as well.
Yeah.
In those 6 months.
Best defense in the league.
Right. There we go. But I mean, so we need a lot of replacement here. And you know, who are we going to choose? Are we going to choose a striker, a center back? Well, I mean, what are we doing here?
Striker and centre back.
Striker, centre back, and a right winger.
Oh, but Minte.
Yeah.
We've got Minte if he comes in.
If we want him back.
I was going to say, do we bring Minte into the squad?
Take a punt.
Do we?
At least in pre-season.
Yeah, let's see him in
have
pre-season.
a look at him. If he doesn't think he's ready,
he needs to be back, man. And listen, I'll double down on his salary, whatever he wants.
So quick.
No. What do you mean? We're not buying him. He's already ours.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying, understand the analogy, Roy.
No. Just bring him in pre-season. Try him. If he's good,
he is mad.
If he's not good, send him on loan again.
No. There's no possible way for me, in my opinion, that I would send him out again. No. What else does he need to do? He needs to play good in his team that you're loaning him out to, and if he does well, he needs to be back.
It's a different league, and it's a different way that Ajax play.
It would only be if
he's going to have different duties with us. I think individually he is better than Murphy and Miggy by a mile, but he's going to have to do all the defensive stuff that Eddie wants to do.
I agree with Roy. I think the ideal loan probably will be for him in the Championship, for instance, of a free-flowing team, a Coventry, for instance, or somebody else. Do that. Yeah.
I think it's very easy. It's very easy to get carried away with some leagues. I mean, I'm not for a second saying that the Dutch league is Mickey Mouse, but there's been so many players over the years who've absolutely smashed it. And I know he's young, so you take that as a good sign that he's doing it at such a raw age and he's still banging in goals. But God, can you remember Mattia Kesman when he came to Chelsea?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Absolute. He was like, he'd scored so many goals and he couldn't hit a barn door.
Yeah. And if you look at Luke de Jong as well, his career.
Depay with Man U as well.
Yeah, he's another one. Yeah, there's been quite a few of them.
But then you've got Van Nistelrooy.
Depay went. See, that's why you need to start watching other leagues, though, because Depay went to Barcelona and he was playing actually good. No reason why they should have got rid of him to Atletico Madrid. And so, you know, I'm just saying, man. And you got you mentioning 2-3 players, but the rule of thumb is what? I mean, if they play good, then stop loaning them to Ajax. Just send them to another Premier League team. I mean, that's probably impossible.
Feyenoord, by the way, not Ajax.
I mean, I'm sorry. Well, I was meaning the Eredivisie.
He scored against Ajax.
Ajax is the one he scored against.
Exactly. So, I mean, what do these fellas have to do to be able to earn a spot, man? I mean, essentially, there's no difference. Poor Minte must be thinking, you know, no matter what I do, they're not going to bring me in and give me a shot.
He won't be
give me an
thinking
opportunity. So I can just be another hating and just not do anything. I mean,
No, that link's been really
Eddie
beneficial
hasn't even
for
seen
him.
him train. He hasn't even trained with us. We bought him.
Does
and
anybody-
he's gone straight away?
Anybody know what his ideal position is? Is he left sided?
Looks like a right wing to me.
No, he's
Like
right
Right
a-
wing.
He's right.
He's right wing.
That's
He's
in,
right wing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
that's-
agree
He's got
that
yeah.
I agree. Bring him in mid-season, pre-season. See how he gels with the squad. If he thinks he needs to go back out on loan again, but I think keep him in the UK, give him the Championship or whatever. But give him a chance to run around with the squad in pre-season and see if he can gel. If he can gel quite quick into the squad and does well, keep him. Because at the end of the day, we can't afford to be buying loads of players unless we get rid of some of the players we've got. But then we still got to replace. So we got to have people in that squad that we can keep.
I guess it comes.
Can't keep chucking them out.
The catalyst you need is he needs a night out in Weatherspoons with Tonali. Get a few rounds
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
Jaeger bombs in.
Oh no, you gotta keep him away
Speaking
from
my
Tonali,
language
man.
now. You're speaking my language with the Jaeger
Book a
bomb.
table for him.
So he needs to go there, and he goes to Fiore's only afterwards, right?
Ooh. This is
Exactly.
a very quick turn.
It's
Oh, yeah.
escalated quickly, that didn't
Well,
it?
with the rumours I'm hearing, though, do we think Tonali's going to play for us again?
Yeah.
Where's that
Because
come
with
from?
all these charges and on him for gambling after he was charged, after the investigation originally, we could end up waiting ages to get him. So we might just end up
No, I think
scrapping
the
him
general,
and get
the
our money
general
back.
consensus is that whatever sentence he will get a sentence from the FA, but it'll run concurrently with his current sentence. So
I've actually
But
got
that's
reliable
not
sources on this.
necessarily, though, is it?
Oh,
Well,
Matthew is
What?
ITK.
I want to hear the sources. Go on, Casey.
I do have quite reliable sources who believe that there'll be no extended ban.
Yeah, there shouldn't be.
No?
It's an addiction, right?
They shouldn't be. I mean,
Yeah.
no, man, time out, man. Because listen, I know we want Newcastle United to win the World Cup in the United States when they play next. But listen, man, if the man commits a crime, he got to do the time. If
They serve the time. He's done 10 months.
No, that's you got Philip. Help me out, man, because you're a righteous man, unlike these people right here. So
I like that setup.
come on, man. Come on, man. Yeah, there we go.
No,
So-
my understanding is that he's actually confessed to all of it, even after the investigation. So they were already aware of it. It's not that they sentenced him and they said, "Oh, and you did all this other stuff. We just discovered it." My understanding is that all of that was taken into consideration. So
Yeah.
I think if I think Matt's sources might be right, and my understanding is that it might be fine as well, rather than an extended sentence for him.
How does banning them help him? How does it help his recovery? Any
Well,
human being.
you're
I
right.
don't care if he plays for, I don't care if he plays for Newcastle, Sunderland, whoever. It's not a Newcastle thing. It's about a human being
Yeah.
who wants to do a job for a living. And I'm sorry, just keep banning someone, and then what's the thing he's going to want to do when he's bored? Do you know what I mean? It's just,
I do. I understand that, but now just remember, Jeffrey Dahmer was addicted to doing something.
Wow.
That's a bit of a stretch, Chris.
That's a bit of a stretch. Tonali's put a few bits
I
on
guarantee you, Jeffrey Dahmer's mom, he was just hungry. He wanted something to nibble on. But no. I mean, I understand. There's obviously an addiction part of it that the people need to. Now, I will say that because we got to be in the middle, man. Because we don't know. As far as I know, none of us know Tonali from Adam. Some people do use the addiction card just to kind of get some people just like to do it. Now, you got to define addiction and, somebody just wanted to do something. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm addicted to live streaming, but I do it because I like it. So just saying, I mean, you got to put both things there. And I know the Mighty Win thinks that, things like me in that sense. I mean, but essentially we'll have to wait and see, but there are dates there though. 12th of August.
Yeah, but the
12th of
FA
October.
were informed at exactly the same time as the Italian FA were when he came clean. The same date. August the 23rd, I think it was, when he confessed to everything that he'd done. Or was it October?
Yeah.
Sorry, October
No,
the
no,
23rd.
That's August.
Everything that he'd done.
August 20th something was when he was sentenced, or the ban came in place. Yes,
No,
it
no.
was.
No, it was October.
Yeah.
No,
we didn't know
man.
until about after the 4th.
Somebody look it up.
fifth
Somebody
game.
look it up. We're
But
talking
the only difference is that the Italian FA couldn't charge him with any of the offences that he'd committed in England, and the English FA are only charging him with the offences he committed in England between August the 12th and October the 18th. I think the dates were off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, and somebody mentioned Kenny, I believe he said, or yeah, Kenzie. Sorry, says Michael Olise and Chiesa. We talked about Chiesa in the breakfast show this morning. And what do you guys think about that? I mean, he's certainly not going to be, shouldn't be cheap generally. Somebody of this talent, even though Old Man said that he wasn't good at all this morning. I'm twisting your words, aren't I? I'm kind of
his numbers aren't good.
His numbers aren't
good
great,
at
no.
all.
You're right about
but he's
that.
been linked with the club before, so
God.
maybe put him on that wing side. You know,
Yeah, 3 times I think he's been linked.
I do like Elise. I think
Constantly,
Elise
yeah.
is a really good
I
player.
like Elise, yeah.
Actually, his numbers are terrible, aren't they?
So Matt don't like Chiesa. In other
I
words,
think there's a rule of
To
thumb.
be honest, I don't know enough about him. I don't watch. I'd never claim to watch other leagues enough to know enough about him.
Good against England, wasn't
Players
in
of that
Euros.
profile are too expensive for Newcastle under the current regime. You need someone who's like a level below, who's got a bit of development for the amount of money we are going to be able to spend.
So if
Nearly
there's an
29
assumption,
years.
if there's an assumption going into the window, and I think we talked about the last time I was on this about wouldn't it be nice if we knew how much we had to spend, but we just don't. It's like how long's a piece of string. But if you're talking about maybe bringing in 2 really good quality players to improve the first team, I know right wings are one we all go to, but surely Harvey Barnes has not been brought in to be a £35 million substitute. So
he shouldn't be.
I loved seeing Gordon on the right hand side in the second half on Saturday. And
I mean,
a right footer on the right wing. What a sensation that would be!
It's crazy, isn't it?
Would you guys be happy? Would you guys be happy with Harvey Barnes? I mean, Harvey Barnes on the left side, and Gordon or inverted, whoever. It doesn't matter at this. Well, no, well, they would be about the same.
No.
Well, one has to be inverted, it's essentially. The other one, not so much. But
Gordon's a right footer,
right? As well as Harvey Barnes. So
no, Harvey Barnes is a left footer.
Yeah. Harvey plays on the left, doesn't he?
But I think he's right-footed.
He's right-footed, man.
But he plays on the left.
He's right-footed.
Harvey Barnes is right-footed.
I think
he's smacked when he gets West Ham.
Yeah, I think
they're both right-footed. They're both right.
So wouldn't you guys be happy with those two?
But
would you guys be happy with those two wingers?
Yeah,
and not have to spend money on kind of have that already taken care of. But the thing is, it's all about what Eddie wants. And Eddie doesn't play him like that. So
those two and Mint in maybe, and then you could have.
I like that.
Yeah,
because you need more than 2. I mean,
and Almiron as backup.
Just get rid of Almiron.
No. Still Miggy.
I don't know if Almiron will leave.
I stand corrected. He's a right footer.
Man, we already know that, man.
Well, I'll tell you right. One thing Eddie has to
every
work on
goal is right foot ever.
He needs to work on alternatives to the 4-3-3. He has to, because it can't keep happening because teams have figured it out. Do you know what I mean? He needs to think of other ways to play.
Philip's rubbing his hands, man. Philip wants to.
The open book football.
Yeah.
We were saying that, remember, in the watch along, it's like defenders know exactly what we're going to do moments before we do it. And it kept happening again and again.
Right.
So I don't.
They have played wing backs from time to time.
The thing is, if he needs to change it, he needs the personnel to change it. So he's going to have to go and get a number 10.
Yeah.
Would it be brave? Have a clear out.
Get
rid of Richie. Get rid of Dummett, and just bring in and spend some money. I think we've got to take a punt, really.
I still think his identity of play is. I know you've got to be adaptable, and I think he's tried a couple of things this season, but again, he's probably been a little bit too cautious at times this season in certain areas. I think maybe because we're not doing as well, so he's been even more worried to see another cock up by changing things. But I think with a good squad, I think the way he sets us up could still be absolutely like impossible to play against for so many teams. I don't think I totally agree with you that he probably needs to find ways to mix it up depending on the opposition, the more they study us and stuff. But I think this season he's just tried that intense style too many games earlier in the season, and I think it ended up biting us on the arse. I think that Bournemouth game when we lost 2-0, I've never seen us just look like the energy, like it was just like the car wouldn't start.
And the Wolves game as well. The away game against Wolves, we just suddenly lost all our energy in the middle of the game.
And West Ham away, similar, very similar.
We were just hanging in there, weren't we?
Yeah. That lack of defensive sort of not strictly defensive midfield, because we know like the likes of Joe Linton's not that, but those gaps between the lines the teams have plucked this season's just been really, really disappointing to see time and time again. I think as soon as you get that aggression from Joe Linton back in there, I think we all realise how important he really is to this team.
Yeah. This is why I think Douglas Luiz would be the ideal signing for that role.
I would love him.
I just think he would break everything up, but it would cost a pretty penny.
It's probably going to cost 100 million.
Well, let's wait till the end of June and the Premier League have their meeting and decide we can spend as much as we want.
If that's true, it's over, man. It's over. It's over. I'm sending my channel expenses too to the club. So they can give me a check.
Well, there's a danger there.
We wouldn't be allowed to play in the Champions League though if that luxury tax was brought in as simple as we think it would be. Our owners would literally be able to say, "There you go, Eddie. There's 700 million for this window." UEFA would not allow that for the Champions League, surely.
Yeah. No. And the other thing is, you look at the way Chelsea have indulged with that kind of money, and it's not necessarily guaranteed.
Doesn't always pay off, does it? Yeah,
you can buy rubbish.
But it's still exciting.
I mean, it would be exciting, if we suddenly bought £600 million players, then it'd be, be a mad
thing. Is when City and PSG did it, they just paid a fine, and then the squad was reduced from 25 to 23 people. Yeah. So just show UEFA a bit of money, and they'll be like, you'd be our son.
Our squad's reduced by 2 people within half an hour of each game, isn't it? A couple of injuries. So, we could do that without UEFA having to get involved.
Have 8 goalkeepers on the bench.
Yeah, just drop Gillespie and Dummett. There you go. All right.
Did you see those 2 guys when Dubravka went down the other day and the camera went to them sitting on the bench?
They're still sat on the bench.
There was absolutely nothing wrong with him.
Are you guys happy with on the left side Lewis Hall? I mean, he's been playing good, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe that's somewhere that we can save up as well. I mean, if this luxury tax doesn't come in effect, or do you guys think? What do you guys think on that, Philip?
Yeah, I think naturally in terms of our team getting worked out or not, I think the 2 big misses was obviously Joe Linton and Pope. Pope is an exceptional sweeper keeper. I think there was a stat recently where between him and Dubravka, Dubravka stays, we all know, within his box, whereas Pope is very much out of his box. It allows us to play a higher line, and therefore that's why you see the gaps between our defense and midfield so much, because Dubravka hangs back. The defense are worried about obviously the ball's coming back in. They drop behind the midfield. They're trying to support the attack, and then that gap opens up for them. So we miss Pope majorly. I do think if we had Pope and we had Joe Linton, we'd be doing a lot more better in terms of points wise. And that kind of says to me in terms of what we're doing this transfer window is that I did actually look. If any of you guys ever get the time, go on transferwindow.com, and they value the positions of the team, of every team. So from attack, defense, midfield, and goalkeepers. And if you compare it to other teams, so for instance, our goalkeeper section is valued at 22 million. 20 million of that is Pope. The other 2 million for the other 3. So that shows you
how much is Gillespie contributing to that?
Well, exactly. So that tells you the value of the quality, where the priority is at. So I think we're definitely going to go for another goalkeeper, a sweeper keeper type of goalkeeper. Right. Our defense is valued at 140 million. If you compare that to all the other guys in the top 6 who are 250 million pound up, 300 million pound up, and compare it to our defense and attack who are at 250, the major hole is our defense. That was before Jamal Lascelles and Botman both got ACLs. So I think there's going to be major kind of surgery on our defense before anything. A sweeper keeper, players that can also help us to push up, because we not only do we need floor raisers a lot of the time, but we need just to have bodies in as well. So I think this summer we're going to see players that, you know, people, your Billings type of signings where people are like, oh, I can't believe we're going to get these guys. These are the floor raisers that we need in our defense alone. So for instance, maybe an Anderson from Palace, if they lowered the price. There was a Spanish gentleman who was named recently, who plays for Real Sociedad. I forgot his name, Lamond, I think, something like that, who's valued at 25 million. You're going to see a few of those. You're probably going to see a Lloyd Kelly, those type of signings who generally raise the floor of what we've got as well, but also our bodies that we need. And you probably get a potential kind of young superstar-ish type of player. For instance, like I think it was Malik Thau, who plays right centre back at AC Milan. So those type of guys that will be coming in. So I think that's where the major money is going to come in. And I think the other, if we have money left, probably one for midfield and one for attack, or ideally one who can do both. You know, for instance, like a Morgan Gibbs-White, who can play across the midfield, but can play across the front three as well, who's an exceptional talent, who can take the ball in the half turn, can also take the ball back to goal, which is what, you know, as you guys can know, the only player that we have in our team that can do that really well is Bruno Gomes. And he's one of the few guys in the Premier League who can full stop do that really well, outside of Rodri, Ødegaard. You know, even Declan Rice can't do it. Ødegaard has to drop in a lot. A lot of Arsenal fans are saying, look how well Ødegaard drops into the DM. That's because Declan Rice can't take it on as well as him with his back to goal. So I think a Morgan Gibbs-White type of signing, I think we're going to end up. I don't think you're going to see the sales of a Richie and Dummett for two reasons. We don't want a situation like Chelsea, where you buy a whole load of talent and take away the old guard. It's invaluable to have those guys around, but also because they don't worth much selling them. And I think you're probably going to see the players that we try to sell in the summer, a lot of them go. So your Callum Wilsons, your Almirons. I hope Trippier stays, but I'm sure he might be, depends on how he's feeling. I think people generally want to keep him, but the fact that Bayern Munich's representatives flew to Newcastle let me know that something was on the cards for some reason for him. And so hopefully he stays. And I forgot who the fourth guy was, but I think Jamal Lascelles, but he's not going to get sold now. So I think probably going to raise 45 million to 50 million in sales at least, maybe more, in order to balance the wages and the PSR and everything else. So I think you're going to see, but I think the major spend is going to be in the defensive areas.
Well, I hope it's not.
Well, I think the thing with the defense why the value is so low is because of the age of the players rather than the quality.
Yeah. So with the quality and age, yeah.
A lot of players who are 33, 32, so their value.
Dubravka's sellable really as well.
He's 35.
You won't get much.
You wouldn't get much. The problem is you sell some of these players, you're going to get
without spending 30, 40 million, maybe it's even more. You're not going to buy a ready-made keeper who's as good as Dubravka.
The other problem is if you're going to bring in a keeper, you need someone who's happy to be number 2 to Pope, or need to persuade Pope to be number 2 to this new keeper. So that's not so easy either. So there's a couple of tricky things there.
It has to be done.
If we don't get this windfall that we're hoping for in June, I think we've got to put all our eggs in one basket for me and buy a striker.
A striker, yeah.
I don't think Eddie Howe in the summer prioritises midfield at all for the start. I mean,
I think as Chris was saying, we've got Tonali, Joe Linton, and Bruno, and we've got Anderson who can come in. We've got Joe.
We have a lot of options. We have a lot of
Joe White on the sidelines.
We've got 6 or 7.
Willock.
We're talking about the importance of Joe Linton. So, based off everyone sort of agreeing on that, you would all want Joe Linton to come straight back in when he's fully fit.
But some of our most ravaged players were in the midfield. So your Joe Linton's been away for 3-4 months, injury. Joe Willock has been injured all year. He's got an infection in his Achilles. We're not sure if he's going to be the same because his style is obviously, and we need it, like that burst of pace, which with a lot of muscle injuries come on. Tonali will be great to have him back. Hopefully he stays fit. We don't know if Bruno's going to stay, and that's really out of our hands because he's literally playing that well where you can't imagine a Real Madrid or whoever, especially Real Madrid, looking at him and thinking, wow, I wouldn't mind having him on our squad, or even a Man City. And so all of a sudden there is a gap. And I think
but if there's a gap in that situation, we've got 110 million to spend.
Yeah.
But everybody. But the thing is that everybody else knows that we've got 110 million to spend. I think you said it earlier, Marty, when is that the problem is getting floor raisers, not even ceiling raisers. Floor raisers cost us a lot of more money. I spoke about Morgan Gibbs-White. He cost Wolves 40 million. Now Morgan Gibbs-White isn't worth 40 million, but nowadays that's what floor raisers cost you. Anthony Gordon at the time cost us 45 million. It's only now that we know that he's probably becoming a ceiling raiser, but nobody knew that at the time. You know, same thing with Harvey Barnes. These guys cost a lot of money, so it's going to be an interesting. I think we're going to go a lot more, even younger ages. You know, your 18, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, and a lot of rumors around the championship players and stuff like that. So I can imagine a lot of groans and sighs when we do get players in this summer. Like, who is he? I've never heard of him. He's never played at the Premier League before. I can't pronounce his name. All that kind of stuff. And then we're going to have to really put our eggs in those kind of baskets and say, hopefully they turn out well for us. The good thing is about our team, unlike for instance Chelsea's and Man United's, that we've got a real structure. We've got something going on, but it's going to take time.
Yeah, I think we're big on the two problem positions, which is striker and right-sided centre half, and then all the rest of it just depends on what happens with outgoings.
But we don't have a left back. We don't have a left back either.
Lewis Hall, he'll be fine, I think. You've got to back Lewis Hall because.
I remember. Wait till I remember Philip. You remember back you told me that you don't think he's a left back and you think he's a midfielder.
He's not. Yeah, he's not a left back. I'm
not getting carried away with Lewis Hall.
I'm not a left back because Dan Burn covered his arse a couple of times on Saturday.
Yeah, but guys, we've invested 35 million in him. We can't just write him off.
I'm not saying that we're doing.
I don't think anyone's writing him off, but I think the last 3 matches, I know he's come in, he's done a good job, and we've got 7 points. But what I've seen on social media about Lewis Hall's performances, apart from probably when he came in the first match and he really added some threat going forward and helped us get over the line against West Ham, I haven't seen too much to be absolutely raving about. I just think he's done
overhype.
I think he looks quite weak. I think he needs to strengthen. And with Lewis Hall, because I remember the stats when he came in, he offers nothing in an aerial capacity. I think Eddie Howe obviously is like Dan Burn for that reason. But when you have Lewis Hall in your defence, you're pretty much one man short from set pieces. Yeah. So I think he will be good. I just think the hype in the past week has been a little bit skyrocket.
I agree.
It's going to take time. I think that's why the rumours around, for instance, Lloyd Kelly from Bournemouth makes sense. When I say free, everybody knows it's not free. There's going to be a transfer fee, agents fees, all these things. Yeah. But it's going to be cost effective. It's going to be better than having a transfer fee. He's a ready-made Premier League player, and it gives, for instance, if it is like Lewis Hall is going to be a long-term left back, time to succeed and to grow as a left back. The ideal situation is a Tino Livramento and Trippier situation, where you've got this young player underneath a star right back and kind of growing into it. And so that's what you'd want across the team. But Lewis Hall will be ready to be a starting left back. Like first game next season, that's not going to be Lewis Hall at left back. If he is, I think we'll be in trouble personally.
That's if we buy him.
I don't know if Lloyd. Well, no, he's an obligation.
I think it's an obligation, though.
Yeah, we can't not buy him.
I'm
obligation.
And I don't know if Lloyd Kelly's naturally a left back or a left centre back. I think he's more of a centre back, isn't he? So again,
it's the height and athleticism.
Do we want to be wedging more left centre backs into left backs? We've done that before.
That's how the football is evolving in terms of those kind of. If you look at Man City's centre backs, Gvardiol's the left back. He's not a natural centre back, and then Ake again, not a natural right back or left back. I can't remember where he plays. I think he's left back. Not where is he? Is he right back or is he left back? I forget Ake left back. Yeah, not natural, but it's that style of play: big, athletic, has got pace, defensive minded, but can also play up front. Those guys are rare, and having a Lloyd Kelly, there's going to be no transfer fee attached. It's an opportunity too good to pass up. So it's those type of left backs that people are looking for. Gone are the days of having 5'4" type of left backs.
I do think Eddie Howe will be looking at Lewis Hall based off where Lewis Hall can play and the fact he can come in at midfield. I know he's
Yeah.
trying Kieran Trippier going in as an inverted midfielder a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd like to hope to allow. I know we were talking about Eddie Howe changing his tactics and maybe being a bit more adaptive. You would like to hope Lewis Hall could start being that guy, a bit like what Zinchenko did for a while for us.
Yeah.
To come into midfield and allow us to go to a back midfield, push people forward.
What made Zinchenko so successful is because he had, at the time last year, Xhaka, who had the greatest season of his life playing and covering him when he inverted or went up front. And similar, hence we're talking about 4-3-2. I think Lewis Hall would work in the 4-3-2 because he can advance, but he needs someone, i.e., a fit and ready Joe Willock or Joe Linton on that side to cover him.
His defending is a bit naive at the moment, but I do think he's kind of got the potential. He's so young that we just got to work with him, polish him up.
Now, one, I'm just putting it out there. Don't shoot the messenger because I know how you guys are going to react, maybe. But the fourth official writing a report, journalist Pete or Rourke, whatever, I don't know. I'm bad at last names. But he kind of put this together and saying that Newcastle is still interested in Aaron Ramsdale from Arsenal. So, I mean, don't shoot the messenger. But
what paper is that?
What?
He's 90 minutes, I think. Peter O'Rourke, right? I think
that's it.
If he comes in, Ramsdale, then that's the end of Pope, isn't it? Because neither of them is going to be number two.
But again, to in all fairness to the journalist, which I'm assuming that Philip has read from him before, that it's not the first time. I mean, he's been rumored before.
Yeah.
So it's essentially a legitimate rumor.
I remember when we bought Pope. Well, I'm not saying everybody here at all, but I remember when we bought Pope and we were saying, why do we need Pope? He's not that much better than Dubravka. And it turns out to be he's that much better than Dubravka. And again, Ramsdale's an excellent. He's an excellent. Oh my word!
Win. How many goals we conceded before he was injured? And how many
Dubravka's made us so much worse.
Yeah, he's
done all right, but he's just a backup keeper.
Ramsdale's an exceptional super keeper. I know people don't like his personality, but he's an exceptional super keeper. He's that much better than Pope with his feet, and he's not bad at saving. And he's a Premier League proven.
You can't get ahead of Raya, though, can you?
I think Ramsdale, there's a bit of a cloud because of what's happened maybe in the most recent sort of 6 years. A lot of the lads were talking about Ramsdale on the way down to Fulham on the bus, and there was a massive sort of like reaction of not a chance on this earth should we go anywhere near. And I think that's a bit harsh. I do think that's a bit harsh. I don't think he's in terms of that overall sweeper and the shot stop. I don't think Ramsdale's that bad.
How much will he cost?
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to.
Well, they might even want to send him out on loan, wouldn't they?
He's not going to have
No,
I don't think they do it to us.
Arsenal might not. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I think there's better places to spend money in the squad because if you spend 30
now Ronald says this: Ramsdale will cost too much for a reserve keeper.
He's better.
Ramsdale will come in as number one.
He'll be
if you bring Ramsdale in for 30 million, you might get 12 million.
But my question to finish off the show. By the way, it's been amazing. By the way, great show. Would he start over Pope or Pope over Ramsdale? Who would win
that's
that?
what you want. That's what you want, Chris. You want competitive. You want the best person in training gets a start, and if they mess up, the next person's down their neck waiting to come on, and you want that because all the best squads have that. Where if you have a bad game or a bad few games, you have someone who's going to come on for you.
I don't agree with goalkeepers though, Paul. I don't think most of the squads have two top-line goalkeepers that they rotate. Like if you look at Arsenal now, he can't get a game. Ramsdale, and he's not happy. So if it was the same position, I don't know if he would tolerate that.
Ortega. I just really wish Nick Pope didn't have the playing ability with the ball at his feet of my Nana, because I've just never known. I'm sorry, I've just never known.
Nana or my Nana.
I've never known a footballer to look as uncomfortable in my life with the ball at his feet as what Nick Pope does. I find it really bizarre. I always get really antsy in the stands when he's got the ball at his feet, and I think he's a brilliant goalkeeper. Apart from that, I think he's brilliant.
Yep.
Just
all right, folks.
That's a big bit.
Exactly.
If it's
still better than Dubravka.
This is going to sound bad.
I don't see why we're playing out from the back so much. What a lot of teams don't seem to doing this long ball game anymore. There seems to be keeper throwing it out to a player and making a way forward. Don't seem to be any long ball anymore. What's going on with that?
It's control. You need control over a team. The moment you let go of that ball, it's you might not get it back again, or the next time you do get it back, it's in the back of your net.
So would you prefer to see more balls pumped up to Barnes, Gordon, and Isak to try and win it in the air, or
Wimbledon?
Not all the time, but I think sometimes where we've been at the back, and there's been a lot of players there, the opposition up front, and we've had that chance of getting that ball up front, and the next minute they're just chucking the ball out, and I'm thinking, Harvey's halfway up the pitch. What's him's up there?
Who's good at that?
There's no one there.
You know who's good at releasing it? Ramsdale. He's fantastic at that.
There we go.
Money's no object. Yeah.
And on that note, we gotta end it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to Philip.
Hoof the twat.
You gotta hoof it. Thank you, Philip, for coming to Tactics TV, Black and White Banner. Stephen from Rocky Toon, and of course Jamie from the Mag. I'm dropping the links right now for Black and White Banner's channel. I gotta do this individually. Copy and paste Toon Tactics right now, going in the chat as well. Rock the Tune, subscribe to his channel as well. Right now the link is going up, and you can find Jamie's articles on the Mag, the original fanzine for Newcastle United. So there it is. All the links, all the channels right now in the chat. Go subscribe to them. Once we're done here, I appreciate your support. Appreciate the fellas, the panel, and of course, great content. So we shall see you tomorrow at 10 p.m. UK as usual. So thank you, fellas, for coming on to the show. Appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Smash the like.
Smash the like. We shall see
Chris,
you.
I love the hat. I hope you enjoyed Dollywood while you were in.
Howdy. It was great. It was great. You guys need to tune in for the American Mag show on Friday at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. 11 p.m. UK. And we're going to be talking about the nice experience that we've had in Nashville and everything. It was amazing. And Newcastle, really, I think that Newcastle, the club, obviously, outdone any other club that came to this event. I mean, because they brought legends, they brought, they did everything amazing. I mean, they were giving away stuff, and other clubs weren't doing anything. I mean, that's just, it's crazy, But certainly Newcastle are trying to open up, to different markets. Obviously, the U.S. is a big market, and they're doing an amazing job. And I will tell you this: walking down the streets of Nashville, I was surprised by the amount of Newcastle fans around. And
fingers crossed for pre-season. Fingers crossed for pre-season.
Yeah, you got family here, don't you?
Me?
Am I wrong?
No,
Didn't I see a video?
I've got a lot of friends. I've got a lot of friends in America. I don't have family.
Am I your friend, man?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. You kind of. I feel like I was excluded.
On you are. Definitely
I feel like I was excluded from that. Yeah. Okay. But anyways, and you guys come to America, we're going to meet up. We're going to have a blast, man. Because and if they come to Nashville again, man, if you're a religious person, you better not come to Nashville because it ain't, man. It's mayhem in Nashville at night. But Roy's definitely coming. We already know
never
Roy's
been down
back.
the quayside on the big market, boy.
Oh man, it's crazy.
I'll bring a box of blue pills for the might win.
No, yeah. But anyways, folks, it was great having you on, and we will see you you folks tomorrow night in the chat. See you. Thank you to all the mods as well for the great work. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.